Welcome back. You're watching News Desk. Now, Interior PS Dr. Raymond Omollo has this morning toured Bondo, Siaya County, where a house belonging to a chief was torched during the Azimio demonstrations last week. The PS condemned the acts of lawlessness where demonstrators targeted security officers and government installations. Willie Lusige is on tour with the PS and now joins us all the way from Siaya. Willie Lusige, what's the latest?
Many thanks, Trix. Yes, indeed, we are all aware of what has happened for quite a number of weeks, where we have seen the Azimio la Umoja protesters causing havoc majorly, because this is what has been said from the government side, that the protesters were engaging in unhealthy kind of a way where they destroyed properties and even properties aligned to the government. And we saw yesterday the PS in charge of Interior, that is Dr. Raymond Omollo, giving out a statement on where he highlighted in detail on the side of the government on what has been destroyed. We saw even on that statistic, he indeed indicated that there was one fatality in terms of the police, and also more than 305 police officers were injured. So today he was touring the bigger Siaya County and the Nyanza region, and where he had a sitting at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University in Bondo, where he had a discussion with security agencies in this bigger Nyanza region to be able to highlight what happened, what is the current situation, and maybe what next, especially that now all the Kenyans have been concerned about their safety. But we have seen also the government saying there's been a little bit of an imbalance on how Kenyans have been judging the side of the protester and the side of the security agency. So we want to speak to the PS and also one member of parliament from here. But Bona PS, let's discuss briefly why you are here today. Do you think we have seen a number of non-governmental organizations saying maybe police used excessive force in managing the protest? Do you agree with that? Because we saw also the security agencies have been affected.
So first, whatever has happened in the last few days, of course, running way back to March, is something that is not acceptable, in the sense that people have taken it upon themselves. And when I say people, I'm demonstrate or picket to cause terror and mayhem on Kenyans. In the process, properties have been destroyed. People have lost millions of investment. You saw cases of supermarkets being vandalized. And on the side of the government, our security officers have bore the brunt of those demonstrations. We have lost an officer because of that. We have over 300 police officers who've sustained serious injuries. Some are still in hospitals. We have officers, police stations that have been torched or destroyed and vandalized, and over 18 vehicles, some burnt and some completely destroyed beyond repair. Looking at what the reactions have been, I think as a government it's very clear that there are elements who've taken law into their own hands. And as a government that respects the rule of law, and as a democracy, this is something that we cannot allow to continue. This morning, we visited the chief, whose homestead was torched, property stolen and carted away by the same criminal elements. And it's something that we will not tolerate, we will not allow to happen in any part of this country. And we've had an elaborate meeting with the security agencies, the regional security team, the county security team, and all administrators within the rank and file of the ministry. And one is to assure them of the government support as they discharge their responsibilities, which is primarily to maintain law and order. We've assured them of the government's commitment to support, so that where enforcement agencies need to arraign culprits in courts, we will do that, and we will ask the relevant agencies to persuade the courts, of course, through the instruments within our constitution, so that then these criminal elements are held culpable. A lot of noise has been made with regards to possible police excesses. As a government, there have not been any incidences of police excesses. And even in the unlikely event that that may have happened, there agencies that are charged with the responsibility of looking into that. Then the other thing that also needs to come out clearly is that the leaders need to be responsible, so that whenever there are grievances, we have channels of airing those grievances. And of course, the Constitution in Article 37 allows people to demonstrate, but it's very clear, peacefully and unarmed. When people carry stones, when people carry even guns, and we have evidence pointing to guns in civilian hands being used in these demonstrations to make it difficult for Kenyans who are not interested in participating in the demonstrations to go on about their lives uninterrupted.
On PS, before I let you go, is there any form of compensation to these government or security agencies who have been affected? Because we have seen for the chief entirely his homestead has been destroyed.
So it's a bit difficult because for the police and a number of government officers generally, there is always an insurance scheme that is in place, but then that cannot take care of everything. So it means that we have to go out of our way to try and make sure that people are able to resume their lives and go about their activities. You can imagine someone now does not have a roof over his head, and this is someone that the community was relying on to support them in discharge of government programs and services.
Do you hope this will mark the end of the protests?
I hope that this should be the end of all these protests, at least to the extent that it carries criminal elements to it. Because, of course, the right to assemble and picket is enshrined in our Constitution, and we respect that. But I'm hoping that we are going to put a stop to criminal activities under the guise of people exercising their democratic right.
Thank you so much. Mheshimiwa Bwana Elisha, for 30 seconds.
I think my heart goes out to the police who got hurt and the Kenyans who got hurt in the process. But I think as a country, Kenya belongs to all of us. We need to go through a process of self-introspection and evaluate what we did. Was it right? Do we want to keep the country? Do we want our children to inherit a destroyed country or a good country? This is a discussion, a conversation that all the leadership in this country should go through. And I think I'm glad that the Kenya Kwanza coalition has invited Azimio for a conversation around issues. I think both parties should stop chest thumping and find a solution to the problem that's.
Do you think they should sit down and discuss?
Yes, they've been invited, so it's upon